Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the Nike GT Hustle 3s. Now, starting off as usual, when it comes to the try-on experience, they were a little tight initially, so you have to space out the laces a little bit just to get your foot inside the shoe. And it is a little hard to get your foot inside the shoe because the insole has these ridges inside, and it is a little difficult for your foot to go like smoothly inside, so you do have to break that insole in. Just it is pretty straightforward when it comes to the overall try-on experience. And as far as fit is concerned, they do run a little narrow when I went true to size, and it does pinch my pinky toe a little bit when I initially had these on, but it does space out a little bit, but it does still pinch my pinky toe every now and then. So because of that, I would probably go down half a size. If you want that really snug, accommodating fit, I would go true to size in that case. And for wide footers, I would probably go up half a size, maybe a full size, because of how narrow the shoe is itself. And as far as pricing is concerned, on Nike.com, they're going for $190. So if you guys are interested in buying yourself a pair, I will leave a link in the description box below. So for the traction pattern itself, it is completely made out of a gummed out rubber outsole with this universal radial traction pattern that has divots in between the radial patterns throughout the outsole itself. And as far as grip is concerned, it is very solid on a clean court from my experience. When it came to lateral movements, it was very sudden and it was very sticky, and you were able to cut very quickly in these, going from side to side, so you're going to be really sticky on defense in general when you are playing in these. And for vertical movements, they are really good when it came to hard stops. You were able to stop immediately, and you're able to stop on a dime as a result of that. And first steps are really good because of the overall grippiness of the gum rubber itself. It allows you to get a really quick first step off of the line. So it is really good on get-offs and really good on hard stops as well when it came to vertical movements. On dusty conditions, it does pick up some dust, and it does affect the performance a little bit, and I found myself to be sliding a little bit. So I would probably every now and then wipe the outsole down, and once you do, you're going to be good to go for a good bit, in my opinion. I really had to wipe in that case, but it does pick up some dust. Just be mindful of that. And it tends to slide when there is a sudden change of condition because of probably the humidity coming inside the court. And I was sliding left and right when I was playing in these with the humidity level up. So that is a sign of concern, but hopefully you are in a stable condition. That way you won't experience that. So keep that in mind when you are playing in these. You will experience sliding when the humidity changes overall in the court. And as far as durability goes, it is very good too. The grooves itself are very durable and really hard in my opinion. So I didn't really experience any signs of wear throughout the outsole itself. So you should be good to go to play in these outdoors as well. So overall, the traction, in my opinion, it is very good on a clean court. On dusty courts, it is okay. Just be mindful that you have to wipe it down because it does pick up dust, and be sure to keep it in a stable condition where the humidity doesn't change, because you will slide around a good bit. But outside of that, it is a very solid traction setup and very grippy in my opinion. Now, getting into the cushion, this is where the shoe gets a little crazy in my opinion, because starting off, the insole itself is completely made out of Zoom X, and when you get further down, the whole midsole itself is completely made out of React, and is a very thick stack of React foam. And in the forefoot, you're going to get this Air Zoom horseshoe style zoom unit on the bottom. It is bottom loaded, and right on top of it, it is a Zoom Strobel unit, specifically in the forefoot. And in terms of forefoot responsiveness, it is very responsive and bouncy, but not as bouncy as I would have expected. They are really responsive onto your foot. You're able to be really reactive on the court because of the Air Zoom units that you get. And it is bouncy too because of the amount of zoom units that you get with the Air Strobel and the max zoom units that you get right on the underneath it. But the shank plate that you get in this is only in the midfoot, and it goes into the back half of the shoe. If it was inverted, it would probably been explosively bouncy, and it would have been really crazy to say the least. So it was very responsive and bouncy, but not as bouncy as I would have liked because of where they placed the shank, in my opinion. But in the heel, the React midsole itself is very soft and forgiving, but it isn't really necessarily mushy, so it doesn't have that sinking type feel when you are doing a nice compressions in the heel. But it has a decent compression overall, and overall impact protection is very good as a result of that. But because of the shank, it does firm it up a little bit, so it doesn't have that mushy type feel. But it is soft at the end of the day, so keep that in mind because of that. And overall fluidity, it is very fluid because of the React midsole and how forgiving it is. It allows you to have really fluid heel to toe transitions. That way it helps you get up to speed fairly quickly, and you'll get there instantly because of the combination of the zoom unit as well as the Strobel unit to help propel you forward. And the overall shape of the shoe itself promotes you to get that next first step. That way you're able to get one step and the other step and the other step as fast as possible. So it is very good, but overall the cushioning for me is a little too much. Initially it is very good when you are playing it. However, after a while it does fatigue my legs a little bit, and it was very bottom heavy as I kept playing it. So that was a little cause of concern when it came to that. Maybe due to the shank plate that you get in the midfoot, and it only extends to the heel. If it was inverted, it probably would have been more lively under my foot, and I would have been able to keep playing in these. But after a while, I did experience some fatigue when it came down to the overall cushioning setup when I was playing in these. So overall cushioning, it is very good, but it is a disappointment at the same time, in my opinion, considering how it is structured when it comes down to the shank and the overall bulbous cushioning that you get overall. Now, moving into the materials, it is pretty basic at the end of the day. It's just a full-length a fly knit upper all around the shoe. The tongue itself is made out of mesh with a little bit of padding on the top, and you're going to get some molded padding here in the heel with this molded padding that you get on the outside of the heel cup. And overall comfort, it is very comfortable overall once you break it in. The forefoot, you do have to break it down a little bit because it does pinch my pinky toe a little bit when I initially started playing in these, so that did take a little bit of time to break in. And once you break it in, it spaces out nicely and it feels very flexible overall in the forefoot, and I didn't experience any pinching as a result of that. In the midfoot, it is comfortable too with the mesh padding, as well as the padding that you get in the heel. It is abundant enough, and it is very comfortable in the heel, and it hugs the back of my foot really nicely. Aesthetically, they are not bad in my opinion, but they do look a little weird considering the overall shape of the shoe, and the midsole itself is kind of huge in my opinion. When I was wearing these, it felt like I was 2 inches taller overall, and it was very weird, and it was weird to get used to overall when I was playing in it too. So keep that in mind. It is a really high stack height, and you do have to get used to the overall feel that you get under you. But overall comfortable. At the end of the day, you do have to break it in, but aesthetically it is not bad, but it is a little weird with the overall structure that you get from the shoe and the stack height that you get from the midsole itself. Now for the lockdown starting in the forefoot, it is really good because of the snug 1-to-1 fit basically that you get, which is a little narrow for my liking. But what I've experienced, it was very good in the forefoot, and I didn't experience any shifting within the footbed itself, going side to side, and hard stops also. And the midfoot, the lacing system is pretty basic, but it gets the job done with the lacing system integrated within the material itself. That way it allows you to harness it and basically mold it around your foot, and you won't experience it any sliding in the footbed. And in the heel, you do experience some heel slippage. Once you break it in though, it does improve over time because of the overall padding that you get. Once it molds to the back of your foot, it is molds to the back really well, that way you won't experience any heel slippage. And to on top of that, the ridges that you get from the insole itself does grab the sock a little bit, that way it ensures that you won't slide around in the footbed at all. So it is overall very good lockdown. Just be sure you have to break it in the heel, especially because it does take some time for the material padding in the back to mold to the back of your foot, and once you do, you won't experience that much heel slippage. So overall lockdown, once you break it in, it is really good. And lastly, for the support, this is where the shoe kind of takes a downhill turn, because for the lateral support, it isn't that great. You do get outriggers sticking out from the outsole itself, right on top of the air zoom units, but the midsole itself rides really high, and you don't sit within the midsole itself, so you're basically going to be relying on the outrigger and the material themselves, which does give out on you when you're doing lateral cuts. So on the slightest tilt on your foot, you will experience some ankle rolls if you are not careful with your footwork and preventing yourself from landing on someone's feet. I would probably avoid that at all times when you are playing in this. And the same thing goes in the midfoot. It does get a little bit better because of the midsole riding a little bit into the material, but it is still pretty unstable because of the stack height that you get. But in the back, you do get an internal TPU heel counter that is nicely sculpted in the back. That way you get some really good stability in the heel especially. But overall, lateral support, it's not good in the forefoot and in the midfoot because of the high stack height that you get and the overall lack of containment that you get for the material itself. But for torsional support, it is fairly decent in my opinion. You do get a top-loaded shank that comes from the midfoot into the rear foot, which I found very weird when it comes to shank plates. It's usually either in the midfoot or in the forefoot. But overall, it is really solid when it comes to overall torsional rigidity. It doesn't fold really easily, and it has a really solid base under you, so you're pretty much balanced inside the shoe. Just be mindful that if you're on an angle, your ankle's going to give way in that case because of the high stack height. But overall, you do get a nice wide base from the outsole itself, and it is pretty flat, so you're going to have a really solid platform under you when you land, hopefully on a flat surface, not on an angled surface. So overall, the support gets the job done in my opinion. But once you're on an uneven surface, it's just going to give way to your ankle, rolling over, and you're most likely going to get an ankle sprain if you're not careful. So overall support just gets the job done, but it could have been better with the stacked midsole that you get from this and the lack of material that you get from the shoe itself. It doesn't really contain your foot that much. But overall, it just gets the job done, but barely. So overall, in my opinion, the GT Hustle 3 is a good shoe that could have been a great shoe with the issues that this shoe has in general. I love the traction on a clean court. It is one of the grippiest traction setups that you can get, but the cushioning is just a little too much in my opinion. And with the misplacement of the shank, which was very weird. If it was inverted, it probably would have been better in my opinion. But the overall stack height that you get, basically is prone to you getting an ankle sprain if you are not careful with your footwork, and it easily rolls if you are on an uneven surface. So that was kind of a disappointment. The cushioning overall, in my opinion, it is really good initially, but it does wear your legs down once you keep playing in it, and it eventually leads to the shoe being really bottom heavy. And because of the stack height, the overall ankle stability isn't really good because of you sitting really high in the shoe. So that was kind of a disappointment. If there would have been anything to improve on it, I would probably get rid of the air Strobel unit that is in the forefoot. That way you can actually sit within the midsole itself. That way it gives you that little extra containment, and most likely lower the stack height that you get from the React midsole itself. So overall, it's just a good shoe that could have been great, and it is kind of disappointing because of that. And I really like playing in it, aside from the instability that you get, and the overall stack height that you get just felt really weird, and I had to get used to it a little bit more. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my performance review on the GT Hustle 3s. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below on what you think of the GT Hustle 3s, any experiences that you've had, as well as your thoughts on the GT Hustle 2. If those are better than the 3s, feel free to comment down below. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, as well as any other questions that you might have. And if you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below, and it'll greatly support the channel as well. And if you are interested in watching my review on the GT Hustle 2, I will leave it on this side of the screen. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of that information will be in the description box below as well. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. And until next time, keep shooting.